Why you're not losing weight even though you're in a calorie deficit. Hey team, and welcome to this week's episode of The Inspired Show, the show that's dedicated to helping you become the best version of yourself mentally as well as physically. This week's episode is all about the frustrations of not losing weight even when you believe you're eating in a calorie deficit. But before we get into it, if you've not done so already, smash a like on this video. Hit that subscribe button. It's completely free to do so, and it means you stay updated with every single episode we drop every single week. And any big takeaways or questions you have, please let me know in the chat down below. So this week we're talking about why we may not be losing weight when we're in a deficit. Because as we've moved into the brand new year, so many of you will be looking to drop some body fat and get into the best shape possible. So I understand the frustrations when you're trying really hard, but you're not seeing results on the scales based off the efforts you're putting in. So we're going to go through the most common reasons why the scales aren't going down, even though you believe you're eating in that calorie deficit. So the first thing that we need to understand is your weight is not going to go down every single week. And that's okay. It's going to fluctuate day by day, week by week, month by month. So we don't want to be looking at any individual weigh-ins per se, but looking at trends over time. So if it's only been a week, then I wouldn't worry too much about it. But if we've not seen any direction going in a downward trend after 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks plus, then one thing's for sure, there's a very high likelihood that whatever we're doing in terms of the food we're eating and the amount of movement we're doing is not creating a calorie deficit. So we need to figure out why this could be happening. The one caveat to this is potentially if you're brand new to pumping iron, lifting some weights, typically in your first 6 months of doing so, you could be potentially building muscle and burning fat at the same time. So it's very, very important, alongside taking your scale weights, you are taking measurements, progress photos on tracking your lifts. However, if you're not a complete beginner to lifting weights, or you're currently not doing any weights work or resistance work, then that isn't the issue. And it's going to be one of these 3 things, and we're going to run through them one by one like a process elimination to ensure you know exactly where you could be going wrong and how to fix it. And I'd love to know which one of these 3 do you think that you need to focus on in order to get results. So the first thing that we need to look at is a consistency within our calorie deficit. Now, the easiest way to check consistency is look at your food tracking app. Most of you guys will be using apps like MyFitnessPal or NutriCheck or NetDiary. So what I want you to do is go into your diary and for the last 3, 4, 5 weeks, look at the data. Have you completed every single day fully? If you have, awesome. If you haven't, that could be potentially the reason why you're not losing weight, because you're only looking at the data points on the days that are being filled in. Because if on the days you've been tracking, you've been within your deficit, that's awesome. But on the days that are missing, there's a high likelihood you've probably gone over your daily calorie amount, which is bringing up your daily average, which means it's pulling you out of that deficit. So if you have missing days, we need to identify what the reason is for that. Because all well and good saying, well, just fill out your diaries, there's a reason why you're not filling it out. Is it because that you're massively under eating on the days you're tracking, and then hunger's so high on the other days that you massively overeat and you don't want to see the evidence? Is it that you're not taking time to plan effectively and take time out of your day to log and track your foods, which then means you lose track of what you've actually eaten and you've forgotten to put things in? So we need to pinpoint the reasons why. So that's the first possible reason. So if that's the case, sort that out first. If you have got a full diary, awesome. We move on to the second potential reason, which is accuracy. When you go into your data, look at how you've inputted the food servings. For example, if it's a cup full of this, a tablespoon of that, a serving of this, then that, personally, I would say, is not very accurate. Because how do you know that the cup I've got in my house is the same cup as you've got in your house, and it's the same cup that's in the app? You have no idea. So when it comes to the accuracy of your food, it needs to be measured properly. So for food, it needs to be measured in grams. For fluids, it needs to be measured in milliliters. For things like takeaways, overestimate. It's always better to overestimate than underestimate. So if you're looking at your data and it's not in grams and milliliters, that is the problem. So you need to fix that. Start being more accurate, start being more consistent, and then that will give us more data and help us make amendments. So they are the two most common reasons. Now, there is a third reason, but you only go to this third reason if you thoroughly checked reason 1 in terms of consistency and number 2 in terms of accuracy. So number 3 is if you have been consistent, you have been accurate, and whatever's gone into here is logged down correctly, then the number you're aiming for simply isn't a deficit number, because over time the weight isn't going down. You're not seeing change in your body. So the number of calories you need to consume needs to come down, or you need to increase your daily movement, do a little bit of both. So a general rule of thumb is you reduce it by about 10%. So let's say, for example, you've been aiming for 2,000 calories and you thought that was your deficit, and you've hit it accurately, you've hit it consistently, but you've not seen any changes for 3 weeks or more, then reduce that by 200 calories to 1,800. You might look at your daily step target and you might be hitting 6,000 steps. So you might decide, I'm going to up that to 7,000 as well. So what you're doing then is you're creating that deficit. But like I said, the only time we go to reason number 3 is if we thoroughly check reasons 1 and 2. Because if you jump to stage number 3 and go, the number I'm following isn't a deficit, and you just ram it down, it's going to be hard for you to stay consistent because you're going to be hungry all the time. And then it's going to be hard to be accurate because you're going to be slipping up and not tracking your food properly. So make sure that you check consistency and accuracy. And if you have 1 week of not seeing weight loss, don't worry about it. That's why it's also important not just to track your scales, but track your measurements, your progress photos, and how you're feeling within yourself as well. So hopefully this will help you keep on the straight and narrow in 2026. If you have any questions or you'd like me to cover any of the topics in the next episode, please let me know down below. I'd be more than happy to do so. Don't forget to join our free support groups, which are linked down below, and download our free starter guide to give you the best possible chance of success in 2026. Until next week, team, have an absolutely amazing day.